right, so let's take a look at, I'm going to go to Models, Objects, right-click, create a folder called Door, Doors with an S, because I'm going to have multiple types of doors. And then in here I'm going to right-click, create another folder, and I'm going to call it Science Lab Doors. Right-click on that, and then I'm going to import a new asset. And then I'm going to go just select my door FBX from here. And I'll drag it into my scene, somewhat like this. And let's kind of snap it. Holding Control to snap it. And I'm just going to scale this guy up a little bit. Something like this. I'm going to right-click, and I'm going to import in a new asset. And in the desktop, I created a doors folder, and I had those textures, the emissive, the diffuse, my metallic. Let's actually just go ahead and make a new folder, or go to our File Explorer and grab our door from the desktop, a door folder, and just grab all of these and drag them in. And then on our object itself in the inspector, let's click on it again. And the Science Lab door, I'm going to just grab these textures, I'm going to drop them in here. So here's our metallic. Here is our normal map, and I'm going to hit Fix Now. It always is going to do that. And, oh, you know what? I never fixed that texture. Oh, you know what? Looks like I moved it too. Let's go to our animation and see what's going on here. So rig, we're going to go to legacy and hit apply. Let's go to our animations. You know what? I never imported in my animation or exported it with animations on. So that's a good lesson. So let's go ahead and fix it. So I'm going to go back over here. I'm going to do File, Export All. And then under the FBX settings, actually, let's go ahead and fix that texture issue too. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight this guy. I'm going to right-click. I'm going to go to Material Attributes. And right off the bat, you can see here's my Science Lab door. I'm going to go click on this option here. It's going to bring up my material editor. And let's just go through really quick and find our texture. And I'm not too worried about, let's go ahead and hit 6. And there we go. Turn. So remember that this door here is this same thing inverted. So let's open our UV editor. Keeps opening off screen. I'm going to go to face mode. I'm going to double click this guy. Right click, Control to UV, and then to shell. And I'm going to deselect these guys here. And I'm just going to flip it. And now you can see that that's sort of hidden off screen, and I'm still reusing the asset, and my animations still work. All right? And I'll still have the same sort of like grunge on both sides and stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and do File, Export All. This time I'm going to export it into the actual door folder. FBX is on. I'm going to expand animation here, make sure that's on, and then I'm going to go 0 to 35. And I'm also going to turn on Embed Media. And what that's going to do is that's going to copy this diffuse texture, not my normal or any of the other stuff. I'm still going to have to bring that in. So I'm going to go to Desktop now, and I'm going to navigate inside of my Leo project to that folder that I created earlier, which is the Doors folder. So that's Models, Objects, Doors, which is somewhere in here. Maybe it's just Objects out here, Doors. Let's try that again, Environment. You know what? It looks like I might have opened it in the wrong folder. So anyway, Models, here's Objects. Inside of here, I'm going to make a new folder called Doors. I have multiple copies of the project run on my computer. So new folder again. Oh, actually, you know what? I know what the problem is. I did it in Leo Art. There we go. Assets, Models, Objects, Doors. There we go. Science Lab Doors. I'm going to select that same door, FBX. I'm going to hit Export All. Yes, I want to replace it. Let's jump back into Unity. There we go. So now we've got our door fixed. I'm going to move that over, back into place, and then maybe select this guy. It doesn't matter. They all have the same material. Grab my metallic, drop that on there, and then you can adjust the amount of smoothness. And on a lot of times I don't even, and then normal, that should be fixed. And really the normal map isn't necessary. Actually, let's go ahead and remove this. It might make it a little bit easier to see. Let's try that again. Because the thing is, in this room, there isn't a lot of light right now, so that metallic isn't really going to do us a lot of good. Now what's really cool is notice that there's an emission here. If I grab that emission texture here, and I bring it down, you can see that it actually glows, even in the dark. So that's kind of a neat thing, like on the terminal. Now let's go ahead and set up those animations. And so I'm going to select my door from here, and I'm going to go to the animations tab. Now remember, if I press play, you can see it opening and you can see it closing, right? So it's a good idea to keep Maya open when you sort of do this step in the process, because we know, if I select this guy here, from 0 to 15 is door open, okay? But we also need an idle, which means the door not moving at all. So let's start by creating that idle. So inside of here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to, click on this, go to this first guy, and I'm going to make a start and end frame from 0 to 0. And then I'm going to make this called idle. Just delete all this stuff. And I'm going to hit apply. And then, so that's just my idle state. So that's there. And then I'm going to click here, and then I'm going to do door open. And that's from 0 to 15. And I'm going to go ahead and hit apply. You can see that there. And then, if you remember, we had from 25 to 35 was closed. So I'm going to go ahead and type in door close. And then from 25 to 35, I'm going to go ahead and hit apply on that. Oops, it looks like we never added another one. So let's go ahead and add another one. I'm going to move this one below it. Or let's do that again. 15 to 35 is door close. Door open is 0 to 15. Hit apply. And now, if you see here, I press door close, you can see that plays the door close. And that's just 15 to 35. Starts off at 15, ends at 35. And you can see that down here even, it tells you the starting frame. So 0. And honestly, I'm going to go back and retexture this. I would probably get rid of that. I think that's too pronounced. Or maybe add one strip across the bottom for now. In the next video, what we'll do is we'll look at triggering this door opening and closing.